Can you imagine having, in the past 5 years, 10,000 strangers off the street penetrate you? Just let that sink into your mind for a moment, because these cases, they're not exceptionally rare. In the spirit of the Vlog Brothers, good morning, Hang. It's Friday, and today we're going to talk about secrets from erotic workers, prostitutes, and porn stars. Notice I call them erotic workers, not sex workers, even though you may be more familiar with the first term, because I think it's more appropriate to call them erotic workers. So what have we learned from the mysterious and juicy world of erotic work? The prostitution industry, the porn industry. Many surprising facts that are perhaps not well known. So let's begin. In the places that legalize or tolerate prostitution, you'll find that by and large prostitutes are independent. They are not governed by pimps, not necessarily abused by them, and they will work voluntarily of their own free will. By making prostitution illegal, where it is illegal, it is also very dangerous. And that's where you have pimps and so on. If the police can't protect them, you get pimps. A surprising number of erotic workers actually enjoy the craft and enjoy pleasing their customers. Not all of them. Some of them are ashamed of what they're doing and despise their customers. But many of them, and certainly the ones that are more successful, enjoy their craft and enjoy pleasing their customers. Sometimes they reach orgasm with their customers, and many more times they enjoy what it is that they're doing. There are several types of sex work, erotic work, sorry. There's streetwalkers, there's windows, there's clubs or champagne bars, there's escorts, and they cater to different types of audiences, to different types of expense, of pockets, if you will. Yes, there are difficulties to the craft, because there's no such thing as sex without any emotional involvement. So each intimate exchange between customer and client, even though people tend to pretend, and it is important for most sex workers to separate their personal involvement from dealing with their customers, most exchanges are also erotic. Not only that, but many customers do not look for just sex. They look for connection. They are lonely and they want connection and affection. So you would think they're vectors for breaking up marriages. People cheat when they go to prostitutes, and yes, some of them do, but a large number of them, a significant number of them, are there because they want affection. They may or may not be in a relationship, but primarily they're lonely. While some workers do it for years, others drop out relatively quickly. And here are some of the reasons that we found. It's because they feel ashamed, because they're forced to live a double life where their family does not really know, because perhaps they contract a disease, because they find the emotional exchange too painful, or they had bad experiences with clients that were abusive in one way or another. Also, one of the main reasons is because they fall in love with one of their clients or just with a boyfriend, and they don't want to do it anymore. Their current partner does not want to do it, or they don't want to do it. They also made enough money and they want to translate into a different activity. All of these are the reasons why sex workers quit or even temporarily quit their craft. But then again, many sex workers do it on a temporary fashion. You would think sex workers would be vectors for disease, venereal disease. What with all the media hype around it, you would think you can't survive more than 3 months working the window in Brussels or in Amsterdam, and you'll end up with syphilis, AIDS, herpes, gonorrhea, all combined. Some of the workers have been in the window in Brussels and Amsterdam for years. Not all of them, because it's difficult for emotional reasons, yes. And health reasons, yes, there is a risk. But some of them have been there for more than 5 years. And let's do a quick math, shall we, with regards to disease. If you work the window in Brussels, normally, if you work the main street, you have to pay 250 euros per night to the people owning the window. It's not pimps, it's the rent, because it's such a lucrative place. The people who happen to own it charge this high rent. Usually, you charge 50 euros for 15 minutes per customer. So you have to do at least 5 customers to break even for the evening. That means that to make a profit, you have to have more than 5 customers. Let's suppose that on average you'll have 10 customers per evening, which means that there's 10 separate people who penetrate you. Let's suppose that you work most nights in a week, about 5 nights per week. Let's suppose that you work about 200 days per year because, hey, you take long breaks. It's when you're on your period and when you need to recharge your battery, so to speak. At 10 customers per day, 200 days in years, that makes 2,000 customers per year. If you've been doing this for 5 years, you're up to 10,000 customers. Can you imagine having, in the past 5 years, 10,000 strangers off the street penetrate you? Just let that sink into your mind for a moment, because these cases, they're not exceptionally rare. About, I don't know, 10-20% of the professionals that you'll find in a window lineup have been doing that for years. So if you think that sex work is a vector for disease, you'd be very surprised of the level of precaution that workers take with regards to their own health. When it is legal, they're doing it out of their own free will. By and large, they remain healthy. The reason why we think of venereal disease, well, it's a risk, but also primarily it's because it has been in the media so much. It is vastly exaggerated, the amount of risk you take when you engage in safe, protected sex. And it's also true for porn movies. Interestingly enough, even though you see that it's fake, even though you see that for the most part women are not really excited, in many porn movies you get the sense and you see the physical aspects where women are not really enjoying themselves. Even with that, there's still an emotional exchange. So on the porn side of things, most sex workers, both male and female, will tell you after they've done it for a while that even though you try to pretend, even though you try to keep it professional, there is affection involved. So what we've covered: vectors for disease, nope. Vectors for breaking up marriages, yes and no. Having to live a double life and being shamed by their society, yes, definitely. If I think of more, I'll restart the video, but for now I think we can close it as is. But I do want to make one final point with regards to prostitution, and that is, if you have the tendency to despise prostitutes as being a, I don't know, subhuman or doing something that is immoral, let me advance to you the following point. Given that we've taken away vectors for disease and vectors for breaking up marriages, when you think about prostitution in general, are we not all prostitutes? I'm going now to work. Somebody's paying me. I have a boss. Am I not a prostitute for my boss? Am I not exchanging my time, blood, sweat and tears for this boss? What is the difference between me and the sex worker? Hey, I happen to enjoy my job, but many people don't, and many sex workers do enjoy their jobs. So, yeah, are we not all whoring ourselves to the highest bidder? What is the difference? I wouldn't say much. At least I know one person who agrees. That's Charlie Sheen.